Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here before you and see some old friends and also some new faces. What I'd like to share with you this morning are some of the projects and initiatives that Shui On is undertaking. A lot of these do involve the platforms and the knowledge here in Silicon Valley, and we invite you all to get involved as we move forward. As many of you know, we are in an unprecedented moment in global history, with Sino-American relations poised to lead the way towards economic and environmental recovery. China is urbanizing several hundred million people in a span of roughly 40 years. And China sees this mostly as an internal or domestic challenge, because the rate of immigration in China is relatively negligible. And with the speed, the scale, and the complexity of the change, the environmental impact is very high, and also the use of energy is vital towards this. As many of you know, China is growing greatly in population. So in the last 20 years, it has grown by 300 million people, roughly that of the same as the U.S. And these hundreds of millions of people are urbanizing at a rate of about 20 million people per year and going towards Chinese cities. Currently, there are over 170 cities in China with over 1 million people, to give you an idea of that scale. As many of you know, San Jose is also roughly around 1 million people. And the land supply is decreasing. Meanwhile, water, and not just the quantity of water, but also the quality of water, is in great demand. There's a thirst for fossil fuels that needs to be replaced by renewable sources as China moves forward. And these fossil fuels drive the cars and also the air conditioning units and everything else, creating great pollution. 16 of China's, the world's most polluted 20 cities are actually located in China, mostly in the central places where the topography and manufacturing industries conspire. And China continues to build a lot in terms of its land supply as well as its investment. So, what is the way forward? And how do we bring the thinking, the know-how, and the innovation spirit of Silicon Valley into China? One way that we've been approaching it is I've been working with a good friend of mine, Harrison Fraker, who was Dean of the Design School at Berkeley. And we look at it as a series of inputs. You know, there's inputs of water, energy, materials, and supplies. And then there are outputs, the sewage and the landfills. But if we think about how we take the waste, the energy, and the water cycles and make them cyclical, is the first step to solving this situation. The second step is to undertake what we call whole systems thinking, so thereby linking the waste, the water, and the energy cycles. An example of this is to maybe take some of the organic food wastes, turn it into biogas, and then with the biogas create energy. One project that we're doing of Shui On's roughly 200 million square foot gross floor area portfolio is this project in Dalian in northeast China. And the role and the goal of this project is to supercharge the software industries, predominantly in outsourcing in northern Asia. In fact, I'm not going to speak a lot about this project today, but I have a colleague here, Monica Smith, who's in the first row here, and we'll be speaking about this more tomorrow, and please see Monica or myself if you want to learn more about this. But this is just one example of how knowledge communities and clean industries are coming up in China and replacing the industrial and the old economies. And this is also where the root and connection to the valley is vital to create these. And a large part of sustainability in China is learning from the lessons of the blended lifestyle here in the valley, living, working, playing, and learning. And at Shui On Land, we think of ourselves as community buildings, not as building constructors. This is very important for us in terms of understanding the overarching goals of environmental, economic, and also social equity, balancing the circular economy. James this morning asked me, he said, what is the greatest difference of working here in China versus here in the U.S.? And I thought for a moment. I said, really, I think the difference right now for me is working with the Chinese government. While it's very top-down and a command economy, China is having democratic practices. For example, property rights and intellectual property are now coming to the fore. But while this government is in place, a lot of policies, regulations, laws, and now incentives are coming into play as the government continues to try to incentivize clean technologies as the way forward. And when I speak to my venture capital friends, they divide the clean tech sector into 11 segments as they continue to invest in China. And so at Shui On, what we are also doing is working with NGOs such as the Bay Area Council, the China San Francisco desk, San Jose, Oakland, as well as companies and institutions to continue to build the backbone of the clean tech industries and the clusters, which include also accountants, lawyers, and supply chains. The nexus between the United States and China is real. And Silicon Valley's role is central. And so therefore, I believe that each and everyone's role in this room to help contribute is vital. So thank you very much for your attention this morning.